Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, about 12 o'clock right now. I'm on my way to my local IMAX to go see Wonder Woman, opening up about a week earlier in Japan than America on HBO Max. That's about it. I'm risking my life on that COVID tip to go see Wonder Woman. Let's go. Oh shit, they got a little Harry Potter thing going on here. Huh. Good job, Warner Brothers. Can you believe that they're doing the Promised Neverland movie? Like, it's actually coming out next week. Anyways. Alright, so I'm outside the movie theater right now getting ready to watch this movie in IMAX as I usually do. That's the only way I'm gonna catch a case of Corona. Watching Wonder Woman in IMAX. It was worth it. Gal Gadot, I did it for you. I did it for you. I don't know what to expect about this movie. The last one, it was alright. People were comparing it, saying it was better than The Dark Knight, and I'm like, what? But I'm not going in. I don't even know what the rating was. I think on Rotten Tomatoes might have been 88%. I don't know. I don't really care. I'm just glad that the DC movies are coming back out now. We're going to keep on going with the future of the DC movies. The last DC movie I saw was Joker. And then before that, I guess, was Birds of Prey. No, it was Joker, then Birds of Prey. I'm just looking forward for the future and more movies and to keep this ball rolling. So I'll let you know what I think about the movie when it's all done. Let's go. Oh shit. Gotta do this first. Okay, there you go. Setting examples. By the way, on the side note, my girlfriend is here in the movie theater as well. But I asked her if she wanted to see Wonder Woman. She was like, no. She'd rather actually see this movie like every other Japanese person for the 15th time or something. That is exactly why Demon Slayer is going to be the #1 movie in Japan, regardless of a pandemic. I just thought that was funny. She literally is in another room right now watching this movie while I'm going to watch another movie. Let me check my temperature. Nice. 38 point. Hi. Hi. What up, girl? What up, girl? Let's go. All right. Let's go.
上映中は飲食時以外はマスクの着用をお願いいたします。
飲食時以外はですね、マスクをするということを心がけると。これをですね、劇場内でもですね、励行していただければ、これはですね、必ず感染対策、感染予防につながると思います。
飲食時の新しいルーティンにご協力をお願いいたします。
Okay, so let me tell you about Wonder Woman 84. Let's go. So as I was kind of saying before, I know that I can be very overly critical sometimes of certain movies. So going into this movie, I wanted to sort of give it the benefit of the doubt that, this isn't the DCEU anymore. Okay. This is going to be a different path, a brighter path, a little more lenient I should be, basically, right? So, and I know that my particular type of Wonder Woman and what I'm kind of interested in, we haven't gotten to that point now. It's we're somewhere in between BVS Batman, a BVS Wonder Woman, and the starting point of Wonder Woman, the origin story that we saw, right? Where the Diana we're getting is somewhere in between there, and I kind of like that actually. The first half of the movie was definitely a little hard to get through, and you're gonna have to remind yourself that look, this isn't going to be a balls to the wall type of action adventure, everybody's super depressed and giving up on life type of thing, fuck Batman or something like that, right? Nah, it's none of that edgy-ish type of stuff. Essentially, I think Patty Jenkins is really trying to set up a particular type of world that would be more in tune with, for example, Ant-Man, or I would say even Shazam is a good example. I don't really know if I really agree on the 1984 settings. I think I understand what they're trying to do, but if you're going in expecting something similar to many other shows that have adapted that sort of setting of the 80s, for example, a la Stranger Things, or even that one episode of Black Mirror. It's not going to be like that. The 84 setting, there are aesthetics like that, but it's very, very minor. And if anything, I think one of the main reasons they decided to keep it within the 84 time period is essentially because of the Cold War. There's a big issue that plays into situations of that time period that I guess it kind of works for that sort of idea. And at the same time, as we know, we're seeing Wonder Woman sort of grow into what she had become around BVS, or even, Justice League or so. You don't, obviously with BVS, at the point where she was with BVS, she had already been in hiding for quite some time, had somewhat given up on man. And so we're seeing that growth of that pattern of where she's sort of getting to that point or so. If you're a fan of BVS, you're going to love particular moments of this movie where there's certain familiar tunes that are gonna come up at like one of the best points of the movie. Outside of the classic theme song, there's something else that you guys are gonna really love. And even for me, as someone was not really thrilled with BVS, it was great to hear some of those melodies come back around, and in some sense kind of full circle, right? Gal is Gal. Watching this movie, the first half of this movie, I was making sure like I'm not gonna like completely go crazy, like overly critical on this movie. And I think Gal Gadot, her acting is just, you either kind of take it or leave it, sort of thing. I think on the scenes that I particularly find very hard to sit through, if you've ever seen her on like Saturday Night Live, or I feel like she was better in certain other roles like Fast and the Furious or whatever. Just I felt like casual scenes, and I'm gonna get into that more on the technical aspect later. We're breaking it up into what I like, technical aspect, and then the critical corner. But overall, with her performance, I feel like when she's just being casual, there's something that just doesn't seem so natural. It's a little weird, but for where she lacks in that sort of depth in terms of having a good relationship, like a chemistry with other people on a casual level, when it comes to fighting, when it comes to like just being that Wonder Woman, she's pretty damn good. Obviously easy on the eyes. When she gets really angry, it's believable. When she gets aggressive, it's believable. So I guess, and maybe this is just particularly Patty's Jenkins sort of direction, maybe she's uncomfortable being Diana Prince, but completely comfortable being Wonder Woman. Maybe that was just something that I missed when watching it at that moment in time, but it just seems like there's certain times where she's just sitting there having conversations with people where I'm just like, damn, was this the first take or not? Like that. So that's it. But like I said, and like I met a fan actually at this showing today. The movie is okay. Maybe a little better than it's good. It's good, but there definitely are some cringy scenes, and it's like I guess the good overcompensates for the bad. And I wouldn't even, bad is not even the right word, but just the kind of, like I'm saying, cringy. There are moments where things seem a little, not necessarily campy, but just kind of just like, okay, what? Like that. Like just little things, and if you're able to kind of look past all that, like, lasso physics and just certain character decisions, if you can look past all of that, then it's easy to kind of just sit back and enjoy it. It's very much a popcorn film, which I hate using that phrase because I've never liked comic book movies being associated with that sort of thing. But there are moments where you're kind of like, okay, if you can get through Transformers type of storytelling, then you'll be fine with this. What I liked. Here was what I liked the most about the movie. Like I've already said, Gal, I really like her development of where she's coming with Wonder Woman. She is Wonder Woman. As I kind of discovered just talking about this review right now, I feel like she's a little iffy when just being normal, if that makes sense, or being Diana Prince. When she's in her civvies and just talking with people, it's kind of just like, ugh. And it's weird because I've seen Gal doing a little thing with Conan O'Brien one time on his show Conan Without Borders, and I thought that was like one of her best things like she's ever done. I'm like, it works really well. So I know she has the ability of being natural in it, doing natural scenes, but you'll see in this movie, personally, some things just did not seem to like sync so well. There was definitely a lack of chemistry on that, but I feel like there's other moments when she's Wonder Woman, you're like, yo, like there are two big moments in this movie that I felt were great, where I'm just like, you actually want to see this with an American audience in the big theaters, because it's just something like everybody would just want to cheer and laugh and be like, this is great. Obviously, where I live, it's completely dead silent, so I'm like talking to myself sometimes. But there are moments where you're just like, okay, that badassery that we saw in BVS, the only good part about BVS, it's in this movie. There's two to three moments in this movie where you're just like, okay, this tops what we saw previously. And when that music kicks in, you're just like, let's go. Certain scenes work really well, but then at the same time, there will be some sort of shots or framing where you're just like, what? And it's kind of obviously green screen type of situations. I'm pretty sure Gal had a part of her costume is a wig, because there's certain things where you're like, okay, if you're running this fast, and this is only because I used to watch The Flash like crazy. If you're running that fast, your hair should be blowing back like this, and this part you should see some air resistance, right? But maybe we're doing the Superman thing. I don't know, where it's like Wonder Woman's got some sort of aura when she's running, but there's certain points in the movie where she's doing essentially the Flash run, and you're like, okay, obviously green screen, which is crazy because I've seen behind the scenes, specifically when they're filming in Washington D.C., I believe, they're doing the ideal pull the carpet technique, and that worked really well. That was actually one of my favorite moments of the movie, and I'm not gonna exactly explain why, but just look at the details of when that moment hits, you'll understand, and you're just like, that is powerful. That is very, very powerful. Gal truly looks like an Amazon, and some of the shots that Patty uses really illuminates her in a way where she really looks like a 6 foot tall Amazon walking around like a giant among men. And I love that aspect of that, riding the lightning baby. There's a particular myth, and I should have put this earlier, but for the comic book fans, there are points of the Wonder Woman mythos and her particular villains that they've changed certain things around, and I don't necessarily I don't necessarily. The verdict is still out on Maxwell Lord, because I'm someone who I'm familiar with him in the comics, and I know there was a huge moment, in the comic books involving Wonder Woman and Maxwell Lord, and I was kind of wondering if that was. I was kind of wondering if that was going to happen, and so they made some different changes, particularly with Wonder Woman and the development of her powers and things like that. But at the same time, I think they still kept true to the overall ideal of Maxwell Lord, Max Lord, and Diana, or Wonder Woman. Like I said, they changed a few things around, and even Cheetah, right? That's probably the biggest change there. The technical aspect of it being shot in IMAX, didn't really mean much of anything with this particular movie. Is sound, maybe sound, that's about it. It almost felt somewhat like a Christopher Nolan movie, just because with Hans Zimmer, the soundtrack just being so big and so massive, that really, I feel, saved the movie in what would have been otherwise really corny scenes and really goofy scenes. And I dare anybody to challenge me on that. In what would have been really kind of corny scenes, Han's soundtrack is what makes the scene from being very corny to being extremely over emotional. And I think in some ways that works. If you're like, again, if you kind of can put the technical things and the critical points aside, you can be like, damn, this is big. Like, I understand why DC Sun told me to bring a box of tissues when you're seeing the movie. Personally, it didn't work for me. Most of those scenes did not work for me. I kind of thought they were reaching at certain times, but I feel like if you are a family man, if you're a father, I can see, if you have children, I could see where that would have an emotional linchpin and points that will really get in your mind here. So I think by far on the IMAX scale, outside of the sound, Themyscira was probably the only thing that really popped out in terms of being really strong and really epic, and you're like, yes, this is an IMAX movie. I actually want it. If I have any complaint about this movie, I wish they actually did more of a flashback of Themyscira, somewhat like Arrow, the way they would do flashbacks to Lian Yu, but just so you know, you're only getting a short intro into Themyscira right in the beginning, and that's it. That is it. Actually, I take that back. There's one. They do one more storytelling to explain where the gold outfit comes from, but that's pretty much it. So don't expect them to be doing anything more than that. We're pretty much in America, baby, and on planet America, and they spend some time somewhere else, and that's basically it. Let's go ahead and move on over to the critical corner. All right, guys, so this is the part you love to hate from me. It's where I really start to get into sort of some of the nitpicks and such. And like I'm saying, I'm really going easy on this particular movie because it's we need this movie right now, and I'll get to that in my wrap up. But the casual shots, it was very interesting. I felt like behind the scenes, sometimes the actors really weren't there on the same day, and I felt like they really had to shoot, like, for example, Chris Pine and Gal may not have actually been on the set the same day certain times, because it looked like they shot a lot of things with stand-ins for whatever reason. It really, like, there's actually, I'm very excited for this movie to become on demand, because I really feel it would be somewhat of a creative challenge for me to actually go ahead and insert myself into a few scenes, because it seems that easy to do. They're so spaced apart sometimes that it's that easy to put yourself into the movie. So I'm actually looking forward to doing that. It should be pretty damn funny. But that is something that really stuck out for me on a technical aspect, is sometimes some of the shot selections made it seem more like a stage play. And again, as I mentioned before, the very casual scenes looked like almost like a sketch, and didn't really look like there was any chemistry a good amount of times. And then on the other side, the overly emotional scenes, the overly emotional moments of the movie worked really well, and worked really well sometimes, particularly Themyscira, but other times, particularly with Maxwell Lord, Mr. Lord here, if it wasn't for some of that music, it just would have been goofy. And the way it wraps up, I guarantee you might, if you get a chance to watch this with a group of people, I know what I feel like. I'm not gonna say it's a Martha moment. It's definitely not a Martha moment, but they're reaching for something, and I'll be very interested to see how many people sort of grab it. How many people can really feel it. But the way the third act, let's not get it twisted. The third act is by far much better than the first movie, the first Wonder Woman movie. The third act is great, is a masterpiece compared to last time. But it's just kind of the way it sort of wraps up, where it's just like, bloop, okay, we're done. Like, very similar to the same way Birds of Prey sort of wrapped up. It's kind of the same, almost, I would say it's almost identical, where you're just like, wait, what? That's it? Okay. But again, the music makes it go, they really go for this really reaching emotional moment. So, overall, let's go. I feel that Wonder Woman 84 was it was a good movie. I'm not necessarily sure if I would say it's a great movie. There were great moments. There were very great moments, but it was an average movie. It was a very average movie. It's in the right path of, I think, what Warner Brothers wants to go. That route of Shazam, very similar Aquaman. I would say it's somewhere right in between a little bit more, well, I would say a lot more than Shazam, or right around, a little bit more than Shazam, but not necessarily on that epic level on that epic level of Aquaman, because Aquaman, that was just something else, which was. But I think Wonder Woman was right in between, and if you get a chance, definitely watch it in the cinema. What? So if you get a chance, make sure you watch it in the cinemas if it's safe for you guys. I don't want you all getting sick right now. But if you can't, you'll still enjoy it on HBO Max. There are moments you'll probably be kicking yourself, wishing that you could see it on the big screen. But it's more important to definitely just be safe and at home. If you can, if you definitely have some sort of ultra wide monitor or so with the widescreen sort of angles worked out, I think you'll still enjoy it. Again, there's about 2 to 3 moments that are just, this is great. The music mixing, the movement, the martial arts is great in this this movie. The fight scenes never really seem, the big fight scenes never really seem too corny. Like I said, sometimes the early opening in the mall scene, which you can see on YouTube right now, it raises some questions about rope physics and things like that. But overall, your suspense of disbelief, as long as it's a bit high, it doesn't kick in too often. So, I had a good time. I enjoyed it, and I think the rest of you guys will enjoy it. And I can't wait for the rest of the world to get ready to watch this movie, and we can have a discussion in terms of spoilers. And, of course, stay tuned through the credits, because there's going to be one... I wouldn't necessarily say big post-credit scene, but it's good for the lore of the Wonder Woman mythos, and any big Wonder Woman fan would know, obviously, where I think I was the only person to actually understand what was going on with the post-credit scene, and I was just like, yeah! Okay, cool. But it makes a lot more sense if you watch the DC fandom, why certain things happened around that fandom time. All right. Thank you so much, Red Nation. Stand up, speak up. Let me know below, and I'll talk to you guys probably next week, Christmas time, when Wonder Woman is available for everyone. Peace, y'all. Yeah.